If you're just starting out, it can be really hard to get things off the ground as an Etsy print-on-demand seller. You may even believe that it's not possible for you, or even worse, that it's not even worth a shot. But I'm here to tell you that the market is growing year on year by about 25%, which is insane. Plus, we are only here. We're just in the baby stages of it. So in today's video, I will go over the 4 things that actually make or breaks a sale. If you're new here, my name is Andreas, and I've done over $1 million in revenue in less than 3 years as an Etsy print-on-demand seller from Sweden. The main thing that we're gonna go over, I'm a big believer in simplifying stuff, is the value equation by Alex Hormozi. These 2 things are what we're gonna focus on first. We want to make these as big as possible, so to speak. What we will do here is mainly focus on the dream outcome first. In the world of print on demand, whether you're on Etsy, on Amazon, on whichever site, the design is everything. Because if the design isn't there, no one will purchase it. They want to purchase your design on top of a blank product. That's what we're marketing. So if the design isn't there, none of these will work, which is why we need to increase this as much as possible. So the dream outcome is a hugely important thing. So that's the first thing. The other thing that we need to maximize as much as possible is the perceived likelihood of achievement. In the world of Etsy and print on demand, what this mainly is reviews. The more reviews your store has, the more likely that other people that also purchase from you will have a similar experience. Whether they're good or bad, they're determined by your reviews, which is why it's so important to always have good reviews in your store. When I purchase something off of Amazon, for instance, if something doesn't have a lot of reviews, I'm really skeptical about buying it. Compare that to the same product from another store that has tons of reviews, or if it's just a little bit different, I'd rather purchase the one that has a lot of reviews and like just a proven track record of providing good experience for the customer. I'm much more likely to purchase that just based off of the reviews. Reviews is a huge thing. If we're new to the platform, we all start off with 0 reviews and 0 sales, which makes this thing hard to like increase as much as possible. But there's one thing that we can use to really enhance this as much as possible in the beginning. You still have to keep in mind that nothing beats good reviews. But what we can do to alleviate the pressure from a customer here is that we can add a guarantee into our store. We can basically have a guarantee that just says something along these lines. If you're unhappy with your purchase for any reason, you can contact us within like 7 to 14 days and it will give you a refund or a replacement. What that does is that it offsets a lot of the risk from the customer and puts it back on us, the sellers. The reviews weigh the heaviest. We always have to stand by what we actually say. If it's your first sale and if they have some kind of issue with it, we always have to stand by our shop and provide a good customer experience, because that's the thing that will actually give us longevity. Once we have some track record within our store and we're getting some sales, the good thing about the guarantees, if like the issues that the customers faced has taught us a lot of the lessons to fix any possible issues for the customers, then we implement that into our stores. What then happens is that the amount of issues when you have a store decreases a lot once you fix all the issues that you inevitably will face if you're new to Etsy and print on demand, because there's so much things to learn. But the good part about it is that once you learn the lesson, you don't have to repeat it. And once you reach a certain threshold, like the amount of issues will just decrease and you will just receive more sales without doing more refunds, so to speak. And the good thing about doing it this way is that it will teach you the lessons fast and it will make you have to provide better service basically, which will inevitably just improve you faster than without having the guarantee at all. So I'm a huge believer in this. That's the best thing that we can do in the early stages to actually improve this part of the value equation. But remember, the whole thing still relies on the dream outcome. If we don't have a good design, none of the other things really matter. Like, people have to want the design, which is why it's really important to base every decision when we do our design. It all has to be based on research. But I won't go into that in this video. You can watch more about that here. The second part of the whole equation is the things that we want to decrease as much as possible. And that's the time delay and the effort and sacrifice. The time delay is mainly like the processing time and the shipping time. So if you, for instance, have really long like shipping times, it's really unlikely that someone will buy because people want something fast. It's really important to optimize this as much as possible. And the easiest way to do it in the beginning is just to follow a Printify's guidelines. We just basically base everything out of how long it will take from a Printify standpoint. Like you can see in their site, it makes it really easy to just have a starting point. The important thing here now is that once we get some sales, let's say that we have 10 sales and 5 sales were delivered in like 10 days, for instance, 2 sales were delivered in like 15 days, and then 3 sales were delivered in like 13 days. Then the median of that would be somewhere around like 13 days. This is just on the top of my head, but this would be based on your actual sales. Then you would put the average that you found based on your sales and put that within the processing and shipping times on Etsy to give an accurate overview for the customer, but also to decrease this as much as humanly possible. So that's the best way that I've found to actually figure out the time delay thing here. And the second part is the effort and sacrifice part. For instance, like, can people return and exchange the item? The pricing of it, is it a real hassle to, like, if an issue would occur? Those are the 3 things mainly that affects this part of the hit here, which is also why it's so important to have good reviews. But if you have, for instance, returns and exchanges and then enabled in your store, I go all in depth about that stuff in this video right here, so I won't go into that. But if you have that, that definitely like decreases the effort and sacrifice that they have, because they can return it if something happens. Apart from that, a great way to affect this part in the beginning stages of our store is to use a break-even pricing strategy. I think this is so important. What I mean by that is that when we list something, we should have some buffer for issues and stuff. So we should earn about like $2 to max $4 per sale. When the listing itself has achieved 10 to 15 in sales or a 50% visibility score on Everbee. If I just take this one, for instance, here, because I think this is trademark Halloween Town. I think so, not sure, but I think so. So never do anything trademarked, really important. But you have this visibility score here, basically. If the listing itself has sold at least 10 to 15 times, but if it hasn't done that and it has a 50% visibility score here on Everbee, I've just found that you can then bump the listing up to profit pricing. When I say profit pricing, I mean around like $10 to $15 in profits, roughly, but that's always between 30 to 40% gross margin. So when after Printify takes their cut, the margin that you're left with, basically, that's what I refer to as the gross margin. So that's a great way to just decrease effort and sacrifice. And if we really in the beginning stages of our store, then I think it's really good to just focus on just getting social proof, which would be the reviews, which is why it could be to just keep everything at a break-even price for quite some time until you have at least 10 reviews or something like that. And then once you feel that you have some kind of social proof and some listings have some actual rank, which you can see here on Everbee, then I think it can be good to just bump them up to profit pricing and just take it from there. In all honesty, the most important thing, which is the biggest hurdle for everyone in the beginning, is to get good designs, and you have to put the reps in. Everything just hangs on this part, since that's what we're displaying on top of the blank product. So I highly suggest that you watch this video right here if you feel unsure about the design part, or if you're just in the beginning stages of your print-on-demand journey, because this is the most important part. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.